welcome to JS Podcast episode 6, and we have Jess from Perth.
Hi.
Hello, Jess.
You love that I've come from Perth.
Because, oh my God, you flew all the way from Perth to support our trio seminar. So I'm so grateful. Thank you,
Yes,
Jess.
I had to. When I saw that post come up, I was like, I'm going to that. Yes. So I was like, we can do a podcast too. I was like, sure.
Yeah, and make it a business trip. So
Exactly.
Yeah, it is.
It definitely was a business trip. Yeah.
Also, thank you so much. Did you like the trio seminar?
Yeah, it was really good. Ladies, they articulated so well, like the drills. Sometimes people are really good at coaching, but they struggle to communicate, or share that knowledge, which is easy to digest for someone who isn't as experienced. But it was really enjoyable. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you. Jess, so we have you in our podcast. Obviously, we want to know because you run the WA female Instagram page, you run the female only show, you're a gym owner, you and Chris, your partner, just open a new gym, and we want to know all about it. So maybe just introduce yourself to our audience a little bit.
So I'm Jess. I have had a small Muay Thai career myself, and then I started promoting. I opened a gym with my husband, and what else do I do?
You're a mom, yes.
I'm a mom, and run and host all female sparring events in Perth every second month. So I'm busy.
Nice.
Events,
Yes.
how do you go and do you get a lot of engagement?
Yeah, so what had actually happened was I had sort of wanted to do it a little bit, but then Bryony held a seminar for one of her trips she did. She was raising money, and I actually asked the girls at the end, I was like, hey girls, while you're here, would anyone be interested if we ran these events regularly? And they were all like, yes. So I was like, okay, cool. So I went off and I set up an Instagram page, and then I sat on it for a little while because I was too anxious to get started. And then Bryony messaged me one day and she was like, oi, run an event. And I was like, okay. And I did. And I think the first event I had about 30 girls come. And now we get between 30 to 50. Yeah. So we're on the 16th of July, I think we have been around for 2 years.
Yeah, I feel there are more female fighters in Perth than any other state. Do you think so?
I think it's hard because I feel like over East, you're a little bit more diluted. So there's such a strong female base over East, but maybe not just in one place, but because you all get to fight on all the same shows because you're close by, it doesn't seem maybe as segregated as we are in Perth.
Yeah.
So for us and even our pro fighters, sometimes the girls need to get together and train with each other, because otherwise what are they going to do? We don't always get the same fight opportunities, and so in order to sharpen our skills and get better and be better, we do a lot of sparring together into gyms. So we'll go to different gyms. I mean, in fairness, where my gym is just a brand new gym and we have a heap of fighters too, and while we're still getting established, we also even send our boys off to other gyms to do lots of sparring as well. So
because we know that it's pretty hard to match girls, even in Muay Thai Victoria, that we would have 2 that's lucky already. But you actually run a female only pro shows in Perth. How's that in terms of matching up? Is it hard?
It is definitely harder, but I think it depends what your reasons for promoting are. So it's never been to make money for me. I think it's just Nakia obviously did it with MTL, and I absolutely, even from Perth, I'll always stream it and always watch it. And I was like, I think we could probably do that over here. I watch all of the shows and I guess I see what talent we have. So in my head, the first time I did it, I was like, I reckon I could pull this off. And the first show I ran with my one of my colleagues who I co-promoted with, and I sort of used the umbrella of his promotion for the first one, and he was like, oh, we'll put it at the end of the year. And I was like, no, I was like, I want the middle spot. I was like, we're doing this in in June. I was like, I'm not having the end of the year because, I think people were a bit unsure if it was going to be successful or not. Yeah, it was such a big success. And on that show, I had 15 matched and then I had a few pullouts. So, yeah, okay. Do you want to keep on going?
Yeah.
So the first show, I had 2 pullouts and I ended up having a card of 13. This show, I had 13 matched and I had 3 pullouts again to have a card of 10. But 10 fights, I would only ever, when I was matching the mixed shows, we would only ever match 13 to 15 anyway because we don't want a really long night. So I was still really happy with a fight card of 10 and it was just all of the fights were cracking. For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the first show I ran, Muay Thai scene, the promoting scene has changed a little bit over the last year. I mean, I've promoted 6 shows maybe. 4 of them were mixed shows and then my 2 female shows. And so my last female show, every single gym really got around it. But what has happened in the last year, unfortunately, is we've had a heap of promotions come and join the scene, which is great. But unfortunately, they're associated with other gyms and then now they're holding their fighters and that for their own shows. And it's a shame because they can fight multiple times, right? Like, I don't think there's a need to be doing that. I think it's really bad for the sport. But unfortunately, it has happened and it was, I had a show a week before mine and a week after mine. So a lot of investment goes into it and I was like, oh, maybe I should not do it anymore. Should I pull the pin? I had so much self-doubt in the lead up to this show, but Darren Reese from Riddler's Gym and Gav, they're mentors and they would go, no, don't worry. Like just push forward. Like, you won't regret doing this, but it was a tough one, this one. Yeah, it was the show. So I will not, that's the other thing as well. Like I know some people will just match fights to build the card up where I'm a little bit of a Muay Thai snob. So I only put fights on that I really want to see that I think is like you literally go into it and go, anyone could win this. Like I actually have no idea. And it made for such a good card. It was, I had 2 girls from over East come over as well. I had Olivia Kerr from Phoenix in Canberra and then I had Jane Koo as well fly over to fight Talia. And the fights were just absolutely cracking. They were so good.
Yeah.
They are good. I know.
So who's your dream fight that you would love to see on your show? That doesn't matter if it's impossible or possible, but it's your dream fight that you want to see. We want to know.
I don't know. I have lots of fights. You know what fight I actually would have really, really, really loved to see? And I think it was nearly going to happen, which would have been Neve Kennahan from the UK. I would have liked to see her versus Zoe. I know that Neve would have had to come up in weight.
Yeah.
But I think there was talks of it happening and I was so excited because I just feel like obviously Neve was on a complete tear. No one has even been able to come close.
Yeah.
And so Zoe. So I feel like it just made sense.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
That would be a
That it would be a cracker of a fight.
But then Niyama retired from Muay Thai and transitioned to MMA.
She left
now,
us to
isn't it?
MMA. Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe one day.
Who knows?
Never,
She might come
never
back.
say never.
Yeah.
Exactly. Come back to the good side.
Yeah. What about Australian female fighters that you want to see?
Yeah. Well, I think from the podcast. I think I was actually thinking to myself because I just forgot about it at the time. I was like just racking my brain. I was like, what would be a really good fight I would like to see? I was like, I'd really like to see Bryony and Joe. But then I was like, wait, hang on a minute. That actually was meant to happen.
Yeah.
So I didn't make up the match in my head, but I just forgot about it. I would like to see that too.
Yep.
I'm sure.
I can't afford you, but
someone might be promoters.
Someone else
there.
can.
Yep. Okay. That's the fight that could happen in the future. So
Yes.
we will see that.
it's always good to strive for things that can happen as well.
Yeah.
Like even as a fighter, when I started, you know, people have all these aspirations to be like Sanchai or, you know, and I always say to people, like, you should look just a little bit further ahead so it seems a little bit more attainable. So when I first started, I used to look up to Gabrielle de Ramos from Muay U because like she was always just like that little step ahead. Obviously she's gone on to have a really big career now with heaps of fights, but at the time she'd only had sort of like 4 fights and I was having like my first fight. And I think it's always good to aspire to someone that you can sort of like chase a little bit. Yeah. My next show, so I will run my female shows once a year, but I will be doing some shows with WBC next year as well, just for more work. Just more stress. I'm not busy enough. So I've been appointed the WBC amateur and junior development director in Western Australia. So I will be running a few more shows. There'll be mixed shows though. It's always exciting being a part of the mixed shows though, because I can obviously advocate for the female fights. So that's always good fun too. Yeah, so we are umming and ahhing about that. It's really hard when you promote because there's 2 ways like about it. And it's just trying to get fights on so you get fights on, and you know, sometimes people see it as more like, well, how can we make money? And then there's running shows for the good of the sport, trying to get people in the ring and as active as possible. So I think that I would like to, because if you think about Roots and Rebellion, right? It's so prestigious because Sai sticks to what his values are. So I think it's really hard in Western Australia. Sometimes promoters will have like an amateur show and a pro show, but then to get more fighters on, they'll have amateurs on their pro show anyway, and it sort of loses that prestige a little bit. I've been umming and ahhing with Gav on that because I'm like, no, but if you just have a pro show, like you should just have your pros. So if you're going to do the day show and the night show, I think it has to be really strictly just pros and just amateurs. Just the amateurs, the pros come in. Yeah. Because I think, like, as an amateur fighter, I don't think you need the pressure and the expectations of a big production. In Thailand, you sit ringside, jump in the ring, you fight. I mean, even amateur boxing is the same. Like at home, you jump in, red corner, blue corner, fight. And I think that is a better way because there's less pressure and less expectation. And I don't think you should have that much expectation for your first, like, maybe even 10 fights. Like, it doesn't really matter, does it? And I think if you put too much pressure on it, people don't go again.
Yeah, they lose the purpose, really,
Yes.
which is just to develop this.
And then where do you go from there? Because when I just had my first pro fight last year, and it was, so they had changed the structure a little bit with no walkouts to save time, and I loved that. That suited me so well. But as having my first pro fight and then like having a walkout song for the first time, I think it might have been 4 or 5 fights. It was the first time I had a walkout again. It was the first time, I walked out on the platform and it was like special. But if you're doing that from your first fight, what's special anymore when you make that transition?
So you mentioned you just had your first pro fight. So
Yes.
that's after you had your little one.
Yes.
Oh my God. So tell us a little bit about that. So you had your amateur fight career and then you had a baby?
Yeah, so I had 3 fights and then I had my baby. But I started Muay Thai really late in life. I was 27 when I first walked into a gym. And so then I started fighting and it was really hard in my weight division. And it's probably changed a bit now, but we were lucky to fight once a year, like if that, to find someone in my weight division. And then my third fight before I had Tom, I actually just came up in weight because I was like, well, this is the only opportunity. I came up 2 kilos heavier than my walk around weight.
What's your weight division? Like
So,
51?
so my weight division was 48 kilos.
Mm.
But then I've fought at 50, 51, 52, wherever I can get the opportunity. And we just made the decision that the wins and losses didn't matter as much if we were going to try and wait for the opportunity to have a fight in my actual weight division. I just wouldn't have had any. So I only had 3 fights, and then I had my baby. Um, and I was saying to Som the other day, I was like, I wasn't ready to stop fighting, but I was 34 years old. I had been to the doctors to speak about my fertility, and she said, I advise that if you want to have a baby, like you should do it now. But then I still waited another year because I wasn't ready and I still really wanted to explore fighting a little bit. Um, and then I had my 3rd fight, got pregnant pretty much straight after that. And then I had my baby, and then I fought 6 months postpartum, but I never set out to do that. I did want to, at some point, but I sort of just got back to exercise, started training, and then the opportunity presented itself, and I said yes.
Is that a record? I'm not quite sure how long you're meant to wait.
Well, I waited until I was lucky because I had a really easy natural birth. And I did wait for the 6 weeks before I exercised again. But then I just loved exercise and training. I didn't get to train a lot while I was pregnant because I was really sick. So I think I was excited to be able to train again. And then yeah, so I was just training, and then the opportunity presented itself, and I said, sure, why not? And then, yeah, so I've had more fights as a mum than not as a mum, which is weird.
Yeah,
to
that's
think.
amazing. Yeah. What's the difference between training after you have a baby or before? Obviously, training routine and stuff.
It's easier having my husband as my coach and having the ability to train in the morning. I know a lot of people don't get to have those pleasures of being able to. So I am close with a group of female fighters who are a similar weight to me or my weight. So we would just get them to train with me in the mornings. So we'll just create a little group of female training partners, and then I'll train with them, and then I'll train with the fight team like 2 nights a week. Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do,
gotta do what
right?
you gotta
Yeah, that's why
do.
it's so amazing for the moms that come back to fight, like you, Whitney Tuna.
Whitney, Keelan also, she had a couple of fights before her breast cancer diagnosis as well. I think there's been a fair few mum fighters now.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, yeah. Yeah, that's the feel. So yeah,
there's a few.
surely the public out there don't actually know, and they would, would you come across someone like, why do you want to go back to fighting and stuff? Yeah.
That's a really good point, because I actually did get a lot of people say, oh, you should be at home with your baby. And I was still breastfeeding as well at the time, and I didn't have to cut weight or anything. So I didn't, I was still able to feed him. He would come to training with me because when they're just little babies, they just chill. He would like sit in his pram or have his little nap or whatever. But I feel like when people become mums, sometimes they lose their identity. Sometimes I maybe think it's how you see things yourself. Maybe they just feel like they've lost their own identity more than it being any external things. But it was really important to me when I became a mum that he's an extension of me. He's not me. Like, we all get one life. Why should I stop doing the things that fulfill me just because I've become a mum? Like, that's not my sole purpose. And I think it's really cool that he's able to watch me train, and like I'll bring him to the gym sometimes when I lift weights, and he'll like lay down and I'll do bench press, and then he'll try to like lift a bar. And I think it's really good that he can see not only a parent being fit and healthy and active, but a mum and a woman who can be strong and who can chase her dreams, as well as I'm still his full-time carer. He doesn't go to daycare or anything. I'm still his mom, and he still gets all the love and care. So I don't feel guilty for doing things that fulfill me. I think it makes me a better mom.
Yeah, I think I remember I saw Chris's story, like right after your fight. I don't know if it was on Root or something, but you came backstage and you
But yeah, so
breastfed your son.
I
Yeah,
breastfed him.
right
I
after your fight.
breastfed him before my fight. So I was wrapped up, ready to go. And then, so he was there. So then I had to quickly feed him before. And I remember being really worried because I'd already had my rub down. And I was like, oh no, I hope I don't get any tire oil all over him. But I think like life is just for living. And I think one of our young boys, he had the opportunity on the weekend to fight. It was only 1 week's notice. It was going to be his first fight. And I sort of said to him, he was like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, you know what, Matt, like some people will do a full fight camp and you still lose. You can give it your heart and soul and you can still lose. I was like, these opportunities, like you just have to take them. And I've always had that mindset. And, I always look back to my fighting and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, should I just stop? Like, you just keep on losing and losing. I mean, but at the end of the day, like what really matters, like I love the camp. I love doing it. And my first pro fight, actually, I took that on 2 weeks notice because there was a pullout. And it was against Talia Basso, one of the best in our state. She obviously just fought Jane as well. And I was like, oh, go on, I'll do it. Not even in my weight division. I was like eating pasta every day that week to try to like gain some weight. But I was like, this is cool. Like I think it'll be a really cool experience. Why not? Like, it's fun. And so I took it. Chris did think I was a bit crazy. He was like, really? I was like, why not? You have to have a little bit of crazy. But yeah, so I guess that's always my mindset, is just take all the opportunities.
Nice. So how did you and Chris meet?
Yes, people love this story because everyone thinks it was a gym romance, which I guess in the end it did become that. So Whitney used to run like it's funny as well, like thinking back to this story. At the time when Whitney was running these all-female classes, no one was doing that ever at any gym. Yeah, so Whitney, she owns Champions Gym, and she used to run women's only programs. And she just messaged me one day and said, "Oh, you should come and do this." And that's how I started Muay Thai. But I met Chris at her 30th birthday, so nothing, not at the gym. Yeah, so I had friends who used to train and fight in Muay Thai. So I had actually been to like Muay Thai shows before I ever started, but at the time I never thought I would do that. I just didn't exercise at all. I had like never had any gym membership. And then Whitney had messaged me that one day and said I should come. And I was like, okay, I will. And then she said, so after the 4-week course thing, she was like, are you going to join? And I was like, well, I don't know though, but you don't have any ladies classes. I'm too scared. But I think once you start Muay Thai, I was like, I'm just going to do it. And she was like, oh, we might start female classes. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll just do it in the hopes that one day we do it. And now all these years later, it still blows my mind. I was like, how did I fight? How did this happen? But Whitney was really big with doing like the female sparring days. And she eventually took over the Girls Fight Back, which is just a sparring day for raising money for cancer. But like lots of gyms over in Western Australia now do female only classes, which was just never a thing. Before I had Tommy, I coached a female only class. How long did I coach for? Maybe over a year. And when I told Chris I was going to do it, he was like, like, I want to say that it's going to be really successful, but is it? Like, do people want this? And I was like, I think so. And he says to this day, never should have doubted that it wouldn't have been a thing. And now, I mean, you guys have an all-female gym. That's not even a class. Like, yeah.
Anyway, enough about us.
No. Yeah.
Let's go back to when you first starting
Yes.
Thai. Did you like love sparring straight away or?
So I started to really love obviously hitting pads, and we actually had a really good group of girls at Champions as well that had sort of come through. And then we had our little leaders as well, like Sarah Kwa was training, so it was good to have some of the girls to look up to. I'm not naturally talented in any way. I'm not good at sport. As I said, I'd never even stepped into a gym until I was 27 years old. People joke that I have 2 left feet because I'm so clumsy. That's why I said sometimes, like when I think back, I was like, how have I had fights? Like it's so mental that I got there. My mum used to joke that I couldn't even like walk to the letterbox without like being a bit puffed out. And then like I've just hit these things. Like I ran 10Ks after I had been at Champions for a little bit. And I remember that was like a big achievement for me as well. And so the transition into sparring was a little bit daunting. We were lucky with lots of girls at Champions, but I still had some bad experience as well. And I know everyone's probably got a story here or there. And to be fair, like even my husband, Chris, he has like horror stories. He was only 16 when he started to fight Muay Thai, and he's also got stories of being like a little bit hurt more than you probably should in a training capacity. But one particular incident was I got my kick caught and I got swept really hard, and I sort of like blanked out and instant headache. Really, it nearly stopped me from even doing Muay Thai. It definitely dictated a lot of my entry into sparring. I didn't trust my kick anymore. I was always like, I'll get my kick caught and I'll just panic straight away because I'll just always think back to that time. But I didn't, and I persevered, and I think that's where my passion came in for making sure that everyone has a really good time, because you can learn, you don't have to be dumping someone on their head really hard to get any better in Muay Thai. So when I run my all-female days, like everyone just leaves having a really good time. And it's really good too because all of our pro fighters come as well. So they give back to people who come and watch their fights. And sometimes I think people forget who pays for the tickets to come and watch you fight. So it's good that the girls give back and the community like absolutely loves it. And that's another reason why I wanted to come yesterday. I was like, there's these 3 amazing female Muay Thai fighters. Like, I would love to just come and have a listen and like hear what they say. And Allegra talking about like the jab tee, the jab lead tee. I love that. I do it all of the time. I was joking beforehand. I was like, oh, when I'm tired, I love to just jab and tee. And then like just hearing her speak about it and then build off that, I was like, that is so cool. Like it's really good to just like hear other people, doing what you do at a completely different level. And it's like, just keep on working. Yeah.
Yeah. And like at the end of the day, no matter what level you are, basics still win fight.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That is so true. And it was really good, and all of the girls yesterday, like it was just basic things done really well. And it's good for people to just hear that, because especially when you're starting out, people think it needs to be all of the bells and whistles, but it just actually doesn't.
Fancy stuff. And then,
Yeah. As I said, I've got 2 left feet. So for me, the basics is just the best thing. Keep both of my feet on the ground as much as possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, we actually almost running out of time, Jess. But I just want to say that listening to the story, like I talked to you briefly, but I actually never listened to the whole story. And you said you started Muay Thai pretty late, and then you were clumsy. You never walk into a gym. That is so inspiring for people out there listening right now, because we always get people come and ask, am I too old to start Muay Thai? But look at her, 27, starting. Now become a professional fighter. Like it's so inspiring.
I'm 36 now.
36 now and still going. Yeah.
Women we peak later than men do.
Okay, that's good to know.
I think even sometimes, like if I've had a little bit of time off training, I even feel a bit anxious going back. Even walking into my own gym, sometimes I feel a bit anxious, and I think it's okay to be scared to start, but you just have to get in there. Once you get in there, even yesterday when I came here, I wasn't anxious at all until I got out of the taxi. And then I was like, wait, hang on a minute. I'm feeling a bit anxious. And then I walked in the door and you're greeted and you're like, okay, cool. Like, this is fine. And as a gym owner for myself, like, and how we configured our gym was like literally specifically. So if someone walks in, I can go, hey, how are you? Because I think that entry into a gym, making someone feel welcomed is a big factor for them to go, okay, this is cool. Like, I can do this. Just keep at it.
And also, you also mentioned that you never thought that you were going to be doing Muay Thai
Never.
and fighting. And I think
Never.
that's related to Dory a little bit, that she said like Muay Thai actually like bring out the potential that you never thought you had.
Never
And I
thought you
think that's
had.
the same,
Yeah. And just being able to face adversity, like to be able to lose and then come back and go in and go again and go again. Like, I think it's a really important skill to have, and some people will fight and they'll lose and they just can't come back from that. So knowing you can, so no matter the result, no matter if you do it for fun or because you want to progress, I think it's important just to keep on going.
Very, very inspiring.
Yeah.
Mm.
So what is your why, Jess? What makes you do all these things? Like, you got so many hats already, but you still want to take on more.
I think because Muay Thai was so good to me. I had a corporate career before I started in Muay Thai, and maybe that's why I have lots of hats and do enjoy the business aspect and the promoting aspect as well, because maybe that's fulfilling the business sense. So my husband coaches, I do all of the business back end. I do a little bit of coaching as well, but mostly I just run the business. And my why is because I had never exercised before Muay Thai, and that's such a shame. Like, it really is such a shame. Exercise has done so much for me, so much for my mental health. I love being fit now. I love exercising now. And I'm like, how did I live 27 years of my life just not knowing how amazing it is? And I guess for me, I want other people to have that opportunity. And for women as well, I feel empowered and I feel strong. And I feel like I probably would have made different decisions in my earlier life if I had the confidence that I had that Muay Thai's given me. So everybody has to do it.
Yeah. Exercise. Make a call right now.
Swipe up.
So there's so much I want to talk to this lady, but we're gonna wrap up now because we try to keep our podcast. Now it's 40 minutes.
If I had to say one thing, it would be you just always have to keep on fighting. And I had to fight a lot in my personal life from a young age. I had probably had to see and witness things that no one really should. And in life, we fight all of the time. And I think it's really important to just keep on going and never make a permanent decision over something that's temporary, because today it could be raining and tomorrow it could be sunshine. So it's always important to just one foot in front of the other and just never, ever, ever give up no matter what.
Oh. Yeah. Oh my God. That's amazing.
Cry.
Oh, wow. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jess, for joining our podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
And then wait for the next episode. We don't know who's going to be our guest.
You'll be surprised.
Yeah. So please click like,
Subscribe and follow.
all right. Bye.